We are not domestic anymore. We're all working globally.
My name's Kyle Hagerty, and I'm the author of The Accidental Business Nomad. Now, today I'm going to be working with some graduate students from India on this topic of communicating and working globally. I typically work with more senior executives, so today will be interesting to see what these students have to bring to the table.
Who here has experienced some type of culture clash or cross-cultural misunderstanding, or noticed that things here are done a little differently than what you're used to? Well, the exact same thing is the case in business. It's the exact same challenge that companies are facing.
The problem I face, that's the language problem.
Put your communications hat on, right? In general. Your intentions don't matter. It's how you are perceived. Collaboration, how do people work together? If people have different working styles, they need to figure out how they're going to work together more effectively. And then, of course, how we adapt. So these are the things that I look at. And the good news is that there's a bunch of data that's out here that actually looks at measuring these types of cultural differences around the world.
Yeah, so what I like to do is to use cross-cultural data that looks at things like communication and how working styles vary around the world. And I combine that with real-world examples. I want teams to come together and talk through this so they can actually address real problems that they're facing in these global environments.
The data you have shared is very useful and very informative. After I join a company, then that will be very useful for me to analyze what are they trying to communicate to me.
What we are going to focus on are the survival guide tips that you can walk out of here with today, that you can use hopefully for the rest of this trip, but certainly for the rest of your careers. You've got all of these people who have been working locally for centuries, and now we just gave everybody Skype and expect everybody to figure out how to work together immediately. But look at Americans. This is one of the reasons why Americans are so confusing, which is Americans tend to be very direct until they're giving feedback, and then they start hedging. Because if you can understand the differences, you can find ways to bridge these misunderstandings before they turn into real problems. I travel the world to try and get teams to have this type of honest conversation with one another, and it makes a massive difference when that happens. Organizations around the world have gone global, but the big problem that we've got is that people haven't. You're not going into a domestic market anymore. You're working globally, whether you have a passport or not. This is now a global challenge.